Pregame.com.
Welcome back, Pregame.tv. We are the BS team. Strike that. We're the B team. We've got Bryan, Leonard, Brady, Kannon, Steve Fezzik talking NFL. Carolina Panthers at the Baltimore Ravens. I said the Panthers were going to go 4-12 this year. Well, now they got to go 2-12, and they're 0-1 since they won their first two games. I'm going to lead this one off. Brady, Kannon, your thoughts on this game?
Oh, I like the way you're going with this one. You know, a lot of people early in the year thought Carolina was going to be down, and they came out and they got a couple wins, but they didn't realize that schedule was pretty weak. Now you get Pittsburgh with 10 days rest. I was on the Steelers last week. That one turned out great. Wasn't a great week for me, but that one was nice to finish up the week with. The Steelers with that amount of rest. I always liked Mike Tomlin and Ben Roethlisberger under the primetime lights as an underdog, and they got the job done. I thought Carolina, after maybe being a little bit undervalued early in the season, was probably a little bit overrated in that game. I didn't think they deserved to be a 3.5-point favorite. Sure enough, Pittsburgh gets the victory. But I think this is a good spot for the Ravens here, who are again off 10 days rest, and now Carolina has to go on the road. They've played, 2 out of 3 games at home, and I think the other one was not far from home at Tampa Bay. So now they're going out to a whole new set of confines here, and now they've had to accept a hard loss, and maybe reality starting to set in.
Bryan, Leonard, I know you come from the AFC North Country. Baltimore Ravens, 3 straight divisional games. That is a concern. Is this a possible letdown factor suddenly going out of division?
I don't think it is. I don't think it can be, because that division is going to be so tough for everybody to win. Cincinnati's looked terrific so far. Baltimore's one of those teams with Joe Flacco. I mean, if you got a chance to play them in a good number when they're at home, you do. On the road, you want to go against Baltimore. Carolina, and unfortunately I was on Carolina against Pittsburgh. Without a mobile quarterback and with the running back problems that they're having right now, everybody's hurt. I mean, they're very one-dimensional offensively. And Baltimore's defense, I mean, you can say what you want about their offense, but their defense has still got some pretty good players on it.
Baltimore's missing Pitta. Curious that Torrey Smith has not been a weapon, and Steve Smith has been, which surprised me. Possible we look under in this game as well, Brady.
Yeah. I mean, Carolina's defense is no joke. That's for sure. They didn't show up against Pittsburgh, but I think that was more Pittsburgh. Carolina's defense is still going to show up, I believe, throughout the year. And Baltimore, they've been known as a defensive team for many years. So I think that's a possibility. And then, losing my train of thought here, but you talked about the division thing. I don't think it's such a bad thing. They've had such, tough division games. I don't think it's necessarily a bad team to invite, a non-division team into the house this week. That might, fuel the fire a little bit.
I've got Baltimore rated an above-average team. I've got Carolina below-average team. Bryan, would you agree with that?
It depends how much above and below average, but yeah, I can go with that.
I'd go slightly on each way.
That you would agree with them.
Yeah.
Well, let's make it official. We can lay 3 at home then. The trend guys are all going to land all over this one as well. Baltimore Ravens lay 3, lay $1.20 now. You have to pay the extra juice. I know Flacco and company have been great early in the year in September. They've been great at home. As Bryan mentioned, may want to get the good number in the Baltimore game. If you played against Cleveland, you either pushed or won more than likely. But if you shopped, should have been able to win. There was -1.5s all the time. And this is a game they might have to go ahead and eke out a lower scoring, closer game. Lock in that -3 before it goes to -3.5. I really feel it's the right side. And what is not a good spot, but the power ratings, I think, just absolutely dominate here for Baltimore. And I really hate this Carolina team on offense. On defense, Luke Kuechly is a stud, and they're definitely going to hold teams down. But I just don't think they're going to be able to score on the road. It is an official play. Baltimore Ravens, -3, lay $1.20.
Yeah, you make a good point, and Bryan, you talked about it. Baltimore's offense, nobody's getting real excited about that. And then Carolina's defense, who I think is going to continue to show up, and you brought up the under. I mean, that might be an angle for that one there. Baltimore's offense shaky, Carolina's defense good, may not get a lot of scoring in this game.
My only concern with the under, Bryan, is that the Ravens have a trend that they've gone under in divisional games. It's actually under 43.5, which has nailed it. It's like 34-6. Now, against Cleveland, they scored 43, so they went under the 43.5, but over the 41.5 number. So the fact that they played 3 straight division games, I hate playing, suddenly all go under in a non-division.
That's a great point. When you play teams that know you back and forth, and a lot of these teams are very similar. get the job done offensively, and then your defense is really what wins the games for you. When you take a look at this division, I think Cincinnati's really the only team we can agree that has a pretty good offense to go along with that. So. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, as long as we got A.J. Green healthy. Pretty good offense without.
Absolutely.
Because we banged up with Eifert out, their tight end, their talented tight end right now. Very good. We're talking NFL, and we're going to go ahead and move over to Brady Cannon's best bet here for a free play next. He's going to be breaking down Philadelphia, and of course, they are traveling to the city by the bay, a little south of the bay, in their beautiful new corporate digs in Silicon Valley. Stay with us here, pregame.tv. It's in San Jose.